Hi art friends, we are here with a super fun painted paper project, and we're going to be using the painted paper that we make in the next two videos for our next week's project. So I just want to give you a heads up about next week's project because it requires something that you may not readily have, but you can also use something else. So I just want to show you, we're going to be making a file folder art project that it has little pockets in it, and it's just going to be like a little book that we are going to decorate and add some things with. And so we're going to use our painted paper as collage elements to go in our book. So if you don't have a manila file folder, you can use cardstock or other heavy paper, or even junk mail. And I will, let me show you something that I did out of junk mail just to give you an idea. I did it with scrapbooking paper instead of painted paper, but it's the same basic thing. So this was just something that we got in the mail. It was an advertisement or I can't even remember what, but it was folded already like this, and so I just covered it with scrapbooking paper and added some little pockets and things. So, and of course on the back side too. So if you get something in the mail like junk mail, you could use that to collage on as well. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy manila folders. But this is just what I'm going to show you next week how to do. So just be on the lookout and save your junk mail or get some cardstock or a manila folder. Okay, so getting on with our project today, we're going to make a few different kinds of painted paper, and then also on Thursday we're also going to make some painted paper, so we'll have a good stack to choose from when we're doing our collage. So these are just some that I've already made. I did 2 of them on a cardstock paper, which might be a little too thick for collaging, but it might be good for making some little cards that we're going to make. So if you can use, I want you to use all kinds of different papers. So maybe you do some on cardstock. This one I did just on regular printer paper, and it's perfectly acceptable if it gets all crumply and wrinkled, because it's going to be cut up into pieces, and so it'll be nice, be able to be collaged with nicely. So those are just some that I've done already, and today I'm going to be working on, let's see, we're going to start with, I'm going to start with printer paper, and I'll also have a book page. So first thing we're going to decide, I'm going to give you a second you can pause the video if you don't have all of your supplies ready, but you will need paper, paint, water, paper towels, something to, and different items to make marks with. It could be a paintbrush. It could be I have a whole bunch of things I'm going to show you as we go along. Let me just show you a few here so that you can, if you don't have them ready, you can get some. So this is just a block that I covered in rubber bands, and this is what made the mark. Oops. The lined marks on this blue paper. Those white lines are from this. I used it like a stamp. Also, I've got a sewing spool, and this is just random thing. Like, I literally just went around and grabbed random things I saw, and then just random piece of pipe cleaner, a Lego, some burlap, that'll make some nice texture on a page, a pom-pom, little, this is a little cap from a chapstick container, a feather, some corrugated cardboard. That is what made these marks right here, was the corrugated cardboard. Okay. And paper towel rolls. And one of them I just left in a circle shape. One of them I have in a heart shape. I just bent it until it ended up being into the shape that I liked, and then popsicle sticks. So you can use anything like this. You can use anything that you find around your house, sticks, leaves, whatever you find outside. You can find plastic forks are good too. So have some things to make marks. Have a piece of paper, a jar of water, because we will need that, and your paper. I don't remember what I said. You get the idea. Okay, so we're going to start today with paint. I'm using acrylic paint. I might even use, let's see, I think I'm going to use some of my, because I think I want to do some purple. So I think I'm going to use some of my craft paint as well. Watercolor could work, but it's a little bit different. I'm going to use this light blue, but it's a little bit different. So I'm not going to really get into, showing you watercolor today, but tempera paint would work, craft paint would work, acrylic paint would work with what we're doing today. So I'm going to start with the yellow, and I'm just going to get me a little bit of yellow. I'm trying to think of what, actually I think I'll do yellow with some orange. Now I do want to say, if you're going to be using, so this paint, whatever colors you want to do, you'll probably want to use cool colors for one piece of paper or warm colors on one piece of paper. Because if you mix cool colors and warm colors together, it'll kind of it can get muddy and brown, blacky looking. And that's not what we want we want to keep our papers nice and colorful. So warm colors would be colors like yellows, oranges, reds, that kind of thing. And then your cool colors are going to be your your blues, greens, and purples, that sort of thing. So just keep that in mind. So for this piece of paper, I'm going to be using warm colors. I'm going to be using yellow and orange, and I might throw in a bit of red. So to paint our background, we're going to start with just painting a background color all the way across on the whole piece of paper. So we want the paint to be watered down because we want it to be thin enough to coat the whole background. And so we're just going to get some water, and we're going to wet it into our paint, and then we're just going to paint all the way across and all the way down. We're just going to cover our whole piece of paper. Okay, and it'll be fine if you have a little bit of like white spots or lighter spots and darker spots. Like I'll show you in a minute after what I'm talking about when I get done with this. But don't feel like you have to get it all the same shade. It's okay and acceptable if it has different variations of color in there, because that's just going to add some more interest to your background and some more depth to it. So, and it's okay also if your paper curls up, or it's perfectly fine, because this is going to be, this is a collage paper, and we don't want it too thick when we're gluing things down. Okay, so, all right, so there's our yellow background. Super easy. That's it. So I want to show you on here on my green paper. Now this was a printer copier paper just like this one is. So it's thin enough that it'll be good to glue and to cut. So if you look at the background, just the background of this, you'll see how I've got light green and dark green. So I did not plan it that way. I just took my brush and painted the whole background just like you saw me do here. Okay, so we're going to let this dry just a bit, because we don't want it to be too wet when we get our for our printmaking part. And so while that's drying, we're going to get our next piece of paper, and this is going to be a book page. I'm going to use a book page for this. This is just an old book that I found at an antique store and thought the pages they're a little bit thicker. So they'll hold paint well, but they also will be able to be cut and glued well. So I think I'm going to use this light purple color. I'm going to stick with kind of a purple thing here. Let's see. So this is my craft paint. Now, craft paint is already a little bit thinner than the acrylic paint, so I'm not going to get quite as much water. Okay, because I don't want it to be too watery. All right, so I think I'll do this page, and it's okay if I can see the words through it. I'm just going to go like this. Tiny bit more water here. All right. Okay. Almost done with this one. So remember, when you're working with your to make your papers, get some pages, if you have it, that are a little thicker, and some pages that are a little thinner, because our thicker pages we're going to use to make some decorative cards and little tags and things to go in our little book that we're making with our manila folder. Okay, so there I've got this one, and you can see the variation in lighter and darker purples. And so we're going to let that dry just a bit, and I'm going to bring my yellow paper back. My yellow paper still feels very wet. Now some of the bottom part, it's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to just get the brush cleaned out real quick so that we don't want to ruin my brush. All right. So now let me bring over my little, let's see, I think I want to try the Lego. It has some interesting things on it. So I'm going to try Lego, and I'm going to stamp with orange. So, or print or stamp. So I'm going to put a little bit of orange out, and let's see, I need to make it in a, you know what, I'm just going to use my finger, but I need to like spread it out a bit so it's kind of flat, like a stamp pad. Can you see what I'm doing? And yes, this is a messy art project, but hey, that's okay. I don't mind getting paint on my fingers. All right, so what I'm going to do is then I'm going to take the Lego and I'm going to like dip it in here like I was doing this on a stamp pad. Okay, and I'm going to get paint on all the little circles, and then I'm just going to stamp it down randomly. And we don't need to worry about doing this in a specific pattern, because it's not going to matter once we get this all cut and put into the different shapes that we're going to use for whatever we decide to do with our painted paper. There's so many things you can do with painted paper. It's really fun idea to it's really fun to make these to use collage. If you're familiar with Eric Carle, he makes a lot of his papers by painting them first, and then he cuts out his paintings to make pictures. I used to love to read those little Eric Carle books. Okay, and that's it. We've got some orange on there. We're going to clean off our Lego, and I want to put a little bit of red. So I have a lot of circles, so let me think what I want to use the red. I'm just making sure that I get the paint off this Lego. there. All right. So let's see. Maybe I want to try a feather. I've never actually tried a feather. Not sure how it's going to do, but we're going to try. So I'm going to put a little bit of red. Not much, because I don't want as much of the red color. I just want a little bit. And I'm going to wipe the feather into it. Okay. I think you can see what I'm doing. I'm just wiping the end of the feather into the paint. And then let's see. Oh, see, that's kind of cool. That's going to add some fun texture. And just a little bit, I don't like to do too many colors. I think 2 or 3 colors works well, including the background color. So we have 3. We have yellow, orange, and then a little bit of red. And I think that's good. So there's our first painted paper. These are super relaxing and fun to make because you don't really have to think about it. The best way to make an interesting paper really is to not think about it and just go for it and just try different things. Try different objects to print with. And then you'll find that you've made some interesting patterns and texture on your page. Okay, we're going to finish up this purple one, and then yeah, that's so long. We've been doing this for a while now. And so then on Thursday, we're going to come back and I'm going to show you some more of my things. So for this, we're going to use our darker purple. And remember, you can use any colors that you want. Just try to keep them cool colors or warm colors. Try not to mix the two. If you want to do a cool color on top of a warm color, or a warm color on top of a cool color, then you would want to do it, you would probably want to do it after your paper dries. So I'm going to try a pom-pom that I found, and I'm just going to dip it in my my darker purple, and then I'm just going to make marks. This has too much, so I just want to take a little bit of that off. Because I don't want it, yeah, I like that better. I like it better when it doesn't have quite as much paint on it. So sponges would also work great. I didn't have any sponges handy, but if you have some old sponges, that would work great for adding texture to a page. This is really fun. Okay, I like that one. Okay. Let's see. I'll try to wipe that off a bit just so it doesn't get all dried on there. Okay, and then I want to add, I think I'm going to use, I want to add just a little bit of blue. And so I think I'm going to use the little cap that was for the chapstick. Ooh, this blue needs to be shaken up some more. So I'm curious to see what kind of objects you use and what kind of texture you get. So try and find something that I didn't use and test it out and see what it does. Because this is just a fun way to play and not think too much about how it turns out, because we're going to be using it for other things like cutting. We're not too worried about precision here. So this is fun. And so now we have this. So then when you get done, just wipe off all of your tools that you used. Make sure you clean up your brushes so the paint doesn't stay in them. And then, excuse me, leave a comment of some of the papers that you made. And on Thursday, we're going to come back and make some more textured paper. And I can't wait to see what you all come up with. So that we can let us know what objects you used for different textures and shapes on your painted paper, so that maybe we want to try some of those too. All right, so y'all join us again on Thursday. Y'all have a great day. Bye.